Good morning. I am Carrie Lifshitz. My pronouns are she, her, and I am honored to serve as your worship associate today while we welcome Reverend Sky Williams-Tao to our pulpit. Yay, I know, right? Welcome to our service. In this sacred space, we celebrate our humanity, our diversity, and the boundless love that unites us all. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. Our doors swing wide to embrace all who seek a welcoming place. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a comfort in challenging times, and a call to action. If you're new here, a hearty welcome to you. We encourage you to come back several times as our services are different each week.
I'm Benji Messer, music director. I use he, him pronouns. I will be leading you in music today, and later you'll also hear from Kate Arnold, UUCP member, on cello. Our opening hymn is an African-American spiritual about heading toward a better future. Called Come and Go With Me. Feel free to rise as we sing together. Here we go. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. And there'll be freedom in that land. Chalice.
Covenant and Rev Sky lights our chalice. If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share our strength and fellowship, thus do we covenant. Before you sit down, please wave to our folks on Zoom and take a moment to turn around and smile at your neighbors. You may be seated. Thank you. I have a few announcements. Last week's service was about There But for Fortune Go You and I. It emphasized the need for empathy for the less fortunate. Keys to Change is the downtown Phoenix campus that serves the unhoused with shelter, training, food, clothing, toiletries, and showers. Earth Justice is accepting donations of many of these items. Please stop by the civic engagement table in our back there for a list of items needed. And finally, I have an OWL announcement. We are having an Our Whole Lives program for people, for kids in grades 8 and 9. For those of you who don't know, Our Whole Lives is a supportive, age-appropriate sex education course for students entering 8th or 9th grade. They're actually for all different levels. We happen to be doing one for 8th and 9th grade this fall. So if you need any more information, Blake has flyers around. Find one, or you can see Blake, our Director of Children's Education. And now, let us draw deeper into the present moment and into our worship. I can do this.
Our opening words for today are from the article, Economic Justice is Accounting Justice, by Clara Miller. Economic justice is inseparable from the standards, reporting conventions, accounting rules, contracting terms, tax regulation, bank transaction boxes, algorithms, administrative rules, corporate profitability hurdles, business models, and similar silent, gray, boring appurtenances of finance and law. These are the guts of the system, the architecture, wiring, and plumbing of the economy, through which money and power flow or are blocked. They routinely uphold or undercut integrity and fair dealing all day, every day. Justice, as well as its opposite, are in these roots. Yet we rarely see them and routinely disregard them. I now invite our children, youth, and any adults who would like to come forward for Together Time.
Welcome up, everybody. Yay. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Together Time, everybody. Thank you guys for coming up. Yeah, well, we got some more. Yay, please do. Awesome. Well, it's good to see everyone. Today we have Reverend... Yes, today we have Reverend Sky with us, who is going to talk to us about accounting, and I would love to talk to you guys about accounting. However, I don't know how. Unfortunately, my degree was not in accounting. It was in biblical studies, which is super relevant in my life. But I love this idea of economic justice, and as I was looking at it, I couldn't help but to think of, well, something I learned while studying the Bible during the course of my life. The idea of economic justice is not new, is it? It's something that has been talked about for quite some time. In fact, something that you may be seeing in the news a lot right now, something that's being pushed on individuals in different states There are the stories that we've been hearing of, like the 10 Commandments from the Bible being forced into schools and into spaces like that, right? We hear those things, and those things are truly horrifying. But a horrifying aspect of it, I think, is how misrepresented those things often are, how misused they can be. For instance, this idea of economic justice, did you know that it does exist in the 10 Commandments? Are you aware of that? I know that's a hard one for us to think of sometimes because we don't hear those words, economic justice, being used in the 10 Commandments, but there is a word that those list of rules use, and that word is covet, so C-O-V-E-T, which for me is a word that doesn't make a lot of sense because I don't use it very often, but it comes from a Hebrew word meaning to be greedy, to want in excess. And oftentimes when people talk about that, especially Christians, they tend to talk about it in ways of like, you know, everything except for material wealth, everything except for finances, right? It's easy to say, well, that's just being greedy in this way or that way. But the Hebrew word, and a lot of the instances where you see it used, often refers to wealth and the hoarding of wealth, and to people taking more than what they need and leaving too little for others. I think this morning during Together time, I think I just simply want us to understand that this struggle, this push for economic justice isn't new. It is not something that just started recently, but as long as people have been around, it seems, people have taken advantage of means and of wealth and of things like that and used it to their own advantage. So this morning, I simply want us to keep that in mind, that this idea of economic justice, this fight and pursuit for it, is not a new thing. And I do want to share just one thing with you this morning before we end Together time, but I do just want to share that one of the things that we can do as individuals to be very proactive and engaged in this push for economic justice is to listen and to believe and to understand or to work towards understanding the stories and experiences that people tell us about their own economic situations and struggles. It's often hard to relate to someone else's story or struggle, isn't it? Especially when it's not our own story or struggle. So when we do hear or have those shared with us, remember to keep an open mind about it, to listen and to take seriously the struggles and the difficulties and the stories of those in our lives. Thank you guys so much for coming up to Together time. Let's go back to our seats.
Each month, our congregation selects a local organization that takes action on issues in alignment with our UUCP mission, and we share our offering each Sunday. This gives you an opportunity to learn about the organization, reflect on your level of interest and appreciation for what they're doing, and act to support them, either by donating to the offering in service or online, or by finding out more about them, perhaps to volunteer or consider another way of contributing to their work. It's an opportunity to learn, reflect, and act. Service is our prayer, and one way of being centered in social justice. For July, our Share the Play partner is the Safe Communities Coalition, Securing Spaces for All, and I'm very pleased and honored to welcome Paul Rockhauer, who will come up and tell us a little bit more about this.
Greetings, friends. Thank you for having me. The short of it is I fight Nazis in the desert. We do extremism monitoring, emergency preparedness, and crisis management for vulnerable communities here in Arizona. This is a project of the Arizona Faith Network, One Community, and Princeton University's Bridging Divides initiatives. So my background's in public diplomacy. I've worked all over the world. I worked with the State Department for many years, running cultural diplomacy programs in countries in conflict. I've worked in Iraq, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, you name it. After 2016, I discontinued my work with the State Department because I didn't want to work with the incoming administration, and I parachuted my way down to Arizona to help the Jewish community and other vulnerable communities get through some difficult times. I was the executive director of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Phoenix. And in that work, I began doing extremism monitoring to help protect the Jewish community and other vulnerable communities here in Arizona. I brought on board a gentleman who was the leading investigative researcher for the Southern Poverty Law Center, and we tracked neo-Nazis in deep, dark spaces and got ahead of threats to both the Jewish community and other vulnerable communities across Arizona. In 2025, we communitized that work with the Arizona Faith Network and One Community. The Arizona Faith Network, a leading interfaith organization, brought in all sorts of different faith communities: the Episcopal Diocese, the Presbyterian Diocese, the Unitarian Universalist congregation here has been a leading partner, the UCCs, the Methodists, you name it. One Community, the leading LGBTQ organization, brought in groups like Equality Arizona, Phoenix Pride, 1 in 10, who else? All sorts, Prisma, excuse me. And then we brought on extremism monitoring through Princeton University's Bridging Divides initiative. So we brought in groups like Western State Center, we brought in pro-democracy organizations like All Voting is Local, and through this we created a coalition to help protect vulnerable communities across Arizona. So as I mentioned, we do extremism monitoring. We keep monitors in deep, dark spaces to get ahead of neo-Nazi threats to all vulnerable communities here in Arizona. We do emergency preparedness work. We help train in security, how to strategize security plans so you can be both welcoming and inclusive, but have layers of security. We help try and keep communities safe by putting them on the proper footing so that they know how to deal with threats. And then I do crisis management. I step in and help vulnerable communities when they're dealing with extremist threats get to the right spaces. I've worked with your congregation in the past. I've worked with all sorts of different congregations across the valley. And so the short of it is we're bringing together faith communities, the LGBTQ community, anti-extremist organizations, and pro-democracy organizations in one space to help make a stronger, safer Arizona for all vulnerable communities. And so I'm grateful for your support today. I'm grateful for your support all month. Thank you for having me.
It is so sad that we need it, but I'm so grateful for all of the work that you do. Thank you so much. And hopefully someday you won't have a job. Sorry. It would be nice to not have to do it, right? So for all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your willing hands in helping us pass the plate. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. We recognize that our lives are interconnected. Part of our journey as a community is sharing our significant milestones, joys, and sorrows. If you're on Zoom, you can put a note in the chat. If you're in person and want us to read your joy or sorrow next week, you can fill out a card before service at the small table at the back of the sanctuary. Let me get onto Zoom here. All right, I need my glasses for this. All right. Bill Snowden shares, on Tuesday, I go to surgery to repair 7 broken bones in a foot. Thank you for the food, help with the wheelchair, and the company that I have received. Bill, we hope that you are doing well. Donna Talbot shares that Terry Talbot's family wants to thank all who gave her a gracious celebration of life. Thank you, Rev. Christine, Benji, and the choir who all attended. And we're keeping you in our hearts, Donna. Mark Hayduke-Grenard shares several joys. My cat Scruffles turned 20 on July 1st. I turned 65 on July 3rd, and my father Jack turned 94 on turns 94 on July 15th. So that's a lot to celebrate. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Sarah is sharing the joy that her son Ryden is starting a new gifted school. That is amazing. I love that we have so many options. Jade from our sound booth shares, thank you to Katie Brown, who at the very last minute lent us their amazing truck to help with the last minute move. A true lifesaver. Yes, Katie is a true lifesaver. And Abigail shares that 3 months ago, me and my parents had to move into an Airbnb because of a house fire, but we are moving back in this week. So that is wonderful. Good, congratulations. Let me look to see if we have any more. All right. May our joys and sorrows, those named and those held in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, help us draw closer and care for each other. I invite you to a time of meditation and prayer. Take a moment to settle your body, take a few breaths, and be here in this present moment. Our meditation is from Helen H.P. Rivers called I Believe in Miracles. I believe in miracles, maybe not loaves and fishes, but perhaps the same $25 passed around a circle of friends, feeding dozens over time. I believe in miracles, maybe not God, but the gift of liberation. I believe in miracles, maybe not pure joy, but miracle of grief, unburdened by regret. I believe in miracles, maybe not angels in white robes coming down from the heavens, but teachers in well-loved cardigans, sharing the language of poetry with children for the very first time. I believe in miracles, maybe not illnesses healed or kings surrendered, but families repaired and addictions conquered. I believe in miracles the way I believe a paycheck can stretch like Hanukkah oil, or how, just like Mom used to make, never tastes like pinched pennies, only love. I believe in miracles, not darkness conquered, but the womb revisited. I believe in miracles, perhaps not the act of creation, but more like the experience of it all. The miracle of a spectacular sunrise, a funeral sprinkled with laughter. I believe in miracles, perhaps not in resurrection, but of course I believe in springtime. I know who in the garden is just resting a spell and who has already gone home. Spirit of life and love, may we offer our humble, if not sometimes begrudging, gratitude for the miracle of moments taken for granted, for minutes that feel like hours, for the miracle of mountaintops and coral reefs, the miracle of survival and ancient olive trees. We offer our awestruck, gobsmacked, jaw-dropping wonder for the miracle of every single child, the miracle of vulnerable individuals kept safe by their communities for all recorded time. May we offer a wholehearted amen at the affirmation for the miracle of store-bought serotonin, the miracle of mental health care, the miracle of call to service, and of those who answer that call. Thank you for the miracle of noticing, the miracle of being known. Amen, and blessed be.
Just a song that comes out of the Modern Poor People's Campaign run by William Barber. This song is actually by Yara Allen, who's a music leader with that campaign. I've led it here before. Go ahead to the first page of lyrics, Rob. So I'll sing, somebody's been hurting my brother, and it's gone on, you all sing, far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I tell you it's gone on far too long. I said somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. And then we all do the last line. It goes like this. And we won't be silent anymore. Let's do that one again. Well, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I tell you it's gone on far too long. Well, somebody's hurt my brother, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Thank you, yeah. Well, somebody's hurt my sister, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. Well, I tell you it's gone on far too long. Well, somebody's hurt my sister, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. All right, enough of the gender binary. Let's get to something else. Somebody's been poisoning our water, and it's gone on far too long. Tell you it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. I said somebody's been poisoning our water, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Well, somebody's ignoring our workers, and it's gone on far too long. I tell you it's gone on far too long. And it's gone on far too long. You know that somebody's ignoring our workers, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Well, somebody's hurt my people, and it's gone on far too long. I tell you it's gone on far too long. Don't you know that it's gone on far too long? I said that somebody's hurt my people, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. And we won't. And we won't be silent anymore. One more time. No, we won't be silent anymore. Thank y'all.
I have a confession to make. I enjoy spreadsheets. Not just because they're useful. I genuinely enjoy them. And yes, I'm one of those people who adds color to spreadsheets. If it doesn't look like a rainbow when I'm finished with it, was I even trying? I just think there's something deeply satisfying about watching a messy collection of information slowly become organized. You have rows that line up, and then add in formulas that hopefully work, and then totals balance. A well-designed spreadsheet feels almost peaceful to me. I even enjoy data entry. I know that may not be everyone's idea of a good time, but I find something meditative about paying close attention to small details, entering one piece of data or information after another, and then trusting that each little act contributes to something larger. When Rev Sky told me about their idea for a sermon, it made me think about why I enjoy this. I actually realized that what I enjoy isn't really the spreadsheet itself. It's actually the act of noticing and paying attention. Paying attention can be a kind of spiritual practice. Whether we're entering and analyzing data, listening to a friend, learning someone's name, or tending a garden, we're saying this matters enough to notice. And I realize that every way of organizing the world leaves something out, right? Every list has things that don't fit. Every category is much simpler than reality. This is true whether looking at spreadsheets or telling stories about one another, but that doesn't mean that organizing is a mistake. It just means that we need to hold the systems we make with humility. We need to always keep in mind that things are bigger and more complicated than what we see. A map is not the landscape. A balance sheet is not a life, and every person is always more than the boxes we place them in. Whether you enjoy spreadsheets or cringe at the notion of them, I invite you today to notice. Notice what captures your attention. Notice what you've come to take for granted. Notice the places that pique our curiosity. Sometimes the smallest act of paying attention opens us to a larger truth. May we be present enough to notice, humble enough to keep learning, and courageous enough to follow where that curiosity leads.
Thank you for that. So for the sermon today, I am going to start with the metaphorical accounting rock. For context, I've been working now in nonprofit accounting for the last 4 years, and as an accounting specialist at the organization 1 in 10 for the last year. With that context, I have learned that the word most associated with the field of accounting is boring. And now I'm not disputing that characterization entirely, but I do think it's missing something if that's sort of the end of the conversation and we just call it there. It's boring and that's done. Maybe in part because I have been sitting with the rock, also known as doing my job. And in doing so, I got more curious about it. I also started to get a little suspicious, particularly at one point when I reframed boring as neutral or normal. So just that little reframing made me more suspicious that there might be some power or something hiding under that facade of normalcy. So I thought, what happens if we start poking the rock? And by poking the rock in a non-metaphorical way, I mean Googling social justice and accounting together. And just from the get-go, there are some scorpions hiding under the rock. So lift them up, scorpions or other bad things if you happen to love scorpions. There is something hiding there. So just to dive right in, the book, Accounting for Slavery, Masters in Management by Caitlin Rosenthal is about the accounting practices used by British slave owners in Jamaica and American slave owners in the American South. So that included things like standardized accounting booklets that were sold to different plantations, counting inventory, otherwise known as people, and owners actually depreciating the value of their slaves over time, or older slaves over time. A more modern day example that came up was from the 2015 article, Accounting as an Instrument of Social Justice by Teresa F. Henry, Althar Martuza, and Renee E. Weiss, which talks about the recent spate of large-scale corporate financial reporting failures, such as the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008 and the accounting scandals faced by corporations like Enron, WorldCom, and Tyco, illustrates significant corporate malfeasance that was not prevented by corporate governance or market monitoring mechanisms. So there, and a little bit later, they're talking about financial officers and workers who knowingly helped create these crises that devastated people's lives by misrepresenting their company's financials or misrepresenting the risk of investments they were selling and encouraging others to make. The kind of headliner is, accounting can be used for unethical ends and in unethical systems. And that while it can be boring, like those day-to-day things are part of what create those systems and make them a reality. That said, as much as a rock can be used to hit somebody, it can also be used to pound flour or chilies to make food that helps nourish the community. And so that is actually more my own experience with accounting. I mentioned at the top, I'm in nonprofit accounting. So in my work, I've helped fund Meals on Wheels for elderly and disabled folks and paid rent for folks who need help. In my current job, I'm helping create and maintain the infrastructure that supports the growth and lives of LGBTQ+ youth and young adults. Working in nonprofit accounting has actually been a huge affirmation of my belief that we need different people doing different things to help create a better world. At one point in my life, I think I really internalized this idea that there was only one way of doing social justice, and I was not very good at it. So finding something that I'm good at, that is genuinely needed, and that works for social justice all together was relieving, and again, affirming that there's many, many ways to help build for a better world. So, getting off that soapbox, coming back to the rock. Another layer from looking at the rock and poking the rock and checking under the rock is asking what the rock is made of, what the actual ness of it is. So in my job, I do a lot of asking the question, do these two columns of numbers add up to be the same thing? And I will say, I really love the neatness of that answer. They either add up and they're the same number and that's great, or they don't, and then there's always an answer for why. Genuinely, one of the things I really enjoy about accounting. But sometimes the question, do these two sums add up to the same number, is not the right question. So one of the things I was thinking about as an example is if you have a bunch of pieces, you've tracked all of the valuations of the lumber that you've sold and all the revenue that you've gotten, and those two numbers should be the same. And if you're just focused on whether those are the same, it misses this question of what the value of the lumber is. So just focusing on that one price point, and then the lumber it comes from, and then the tree that came from, the question of value starts to become a little washier for me when I get to the tree. Because is a tree just the sum of all the lumber it produces, all the things that can be sold from it? And in a lot of our systems, our current systems, the answer is yes, that is the value of that tree. But the birds and the squirrels that live in that tree, that make it their home, might have a different perspective on what the value of that tree is. There also might be a different value we see if we think about the way that tree interacts with its local and global ecosystems. So Dana Ramey Berry speaks to these different layers of value on a more human level in her book, The Price for Their Pound of Flesh, The Value of the Enslaved from Womb to Grave in the Building of a Nation. She writes, "Enslaved people were valued in life and in death, but because they were people and property, multiple sets of values encompassed them and were placed on their bodies. Value here is used as a noun, a verb, and an adjective. It is active, passive, subjective, and reflexive. It is rooted in modes or kinds of valuing and requires an assessment of feelings. The first value signifies an internal quality. I call this an internal or soul value. It is an intangible value that defied monetization, yet spoke to the spirit and soul of who they were as human beings. It represented the self-worth of enslaved people." End quote. So, here's the issue. Part of the way some of these accounting techniques works is to make something complicated and messy and beautiful and complex and reduce that thing to make it relatively simple. A genuine question I had in sitting with my rock and thinking this through is that process inherently a bad process of taking something complex and making it into this simple little thing? And honestly, the answer I came to was no. So a positive example of that is something like COVID or disease tracking, where there's these beautiful, complex human beings, but really the one piece of information we need to know is, are they COVID positive? Do they have that disease? In part, because then we take that piece of information and add it up to a bunch of others so we can help keep everybody safer. I think my rock metaphor is perhaps another example of taking a complex idea and making it a little bit simpler. So rather than the idea of that flattening being bad, my takeaway is just to recognize it as a thing. To take a price and not think that's just an objective reality, but to recognize that somebody did that thing where they took something complex and made something simpler from it. And that by doing that, that is an exercise of power that is deeply rooted in social and cultural values. And doing it is a process that carries an ethical and moral implication because of the impact it can have on people's lives. In a normal day for me, the question of whether those two sums add up to the same amount or what these two numbers add to is generally actually the right question. The questions help me do my work, and by doing my work, support an organization that I believe in. But I also want to remind myself, and all of you, to keep spending time with the rock, to poke it and check under it, use it a little, play with it, and learn what it's made of. Because spending time with my own rock has made me dream a little. One day, I would like to be in a world with a fundamentally different economy. In that imagined world, I think of an economy not based on maximizing profit, but rather based on care and well-being for people, creatures, ecosystems, and the world. And that instead of profit, that care is the bottom line, the most essential question and the ongoing driver of innovation and energy. Now, does that world have accountants? I honestly don't know. But I'm just saying, maybe we try it and we find out. It might be fun.
Thank you, Sky. Amen. So Sky was interested in doing songs of economic justice today, and specifically, we're ending with a labor song called Rich Man's House. And I want to say, give you a little preamble first. This is a somewhat combative song. It's about taking back control and taking back our power, and it identifies the rich and powerful as the enemy. So I just want to say, being a community that welcomes all, if any of you, members of our congregation, currently play an owning class role, right? If you manage the economy or run a major corporation and might hear this song as threatening, I just want to say, Up front, you are welcome here. I know you were born good people, just like all of us. You have a role in making society just also. You can divest your wealth. You can make reparations, you know. Just want to put that up front since the song is not from that perspective. The song is from everyone else's perspective about taking back power. I invite you to stand, and I'm going to teach you the chorus first because it involves stomping your feet, and I gotta be standing for that. Rob, actually skip the first slide, go to the second bit of lyrics when we get to the chorus. Yeah, not that one, but the next one. Yeah. So it goes, now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. And it's weird to sing that without stomping your feet. Like, that's what it's made for, right? It's to be out at the demonstration and stomp. So try it with me. 1, 2. Now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. Cool. All right, you stay standing. I'm gonna sit down so I can play piano. Lead you. The verses all happen twice. So if you don't know the verses, don't worry. Just listen the first time, join me the second time. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity, took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. Yeah, and I was thinking about the Senate, our state Senate. Well, I went down to the Senate house and I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Well, I went down to the Senate house and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. And some of us went down to the jailhouse and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. And I went down to the jailhouse and I took back what they stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. And he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. Well, I went down to the White House and I took back what it stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Yes, I went down to the White House and I took back what it stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. And he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. Under my feet, one more time. Now he's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let the system walk all over me. Thank you all. Please remain standing as we close our service.
All right. After service ends, noon activities will be listed on the screen. Please join us for coffee hour with food and refreshments in our community space just across the patio. While there's no formal children's programming in the summer, we will have activity tables set up in the Johnson Room. Rev Sky, please close our service.
Our closing words are from the reflection offered by Worship Associate Carrie Lifshitz. May we be present enough to notice, humble enough to keep learning, and courageous enough to follow where that curiosity leads. Go in peace, go in love, and blessed be.